Hey guys, Trudy here, and I've already done a Facebook Live video for the morning, so surprising myself doing another one. And this one I have to say has been inspired by a conversation I had this morning, coming out of a question asked in a mastermind I'm a part of. On the challenge, it's a mastermind type challenge, and this This one, yeah, how I got over the fear of feeling like a fake. This seems to be, I thought I was alone in this, honestly. I thought I was alone in this. And a number of the leaders, this is a group of leaders that I'm a part of, and it seems like I'm absolutely not alone in this space. I was surprised at the number of people who were sharing. It's a private group, so I can't expose that. But the number of leaders who are feeling the same thing. Now, this is thankfully something I got over, but it was something that bothered me for a long time. I feel like it was a huge hurdle for me personally. It's still a hurdle in a lot of ways, but less so at a personal level. It's still a hurdle I have to get over with others who may still want to wonder, am I legit? Am I who I say I am? And so forth. Uh, but anyway, it was surprising to me this morning to see I was not, hey Wendy, hey Cheryl, to see that I was not the only one that has had this challenge, feeling like a fake. Now, if you're a Christian, this is huge because one of the biggest complaints, uh, what is the word I'm looking for? When outsiders talk, claim that Christians are hypocrites and, we're really not authentic, and we're Christians on Sunday and we're not the rest of the week, and because they're looking at us, people are observing us, people are watching us. But when you're in leadership and you have a brand, or you claim to stand for something or represent something, including faith, you really put yourself out there. This is why I think a lot of people hide and don't want to step forward, and really want to step forward, but they're afraid of stepping forward because uh, they don't really want to be seen for what they really are. And there was a while in my life that I really struggled with that, and there's a side of my person that doesn't give a hoot what you think about me. So it helped me to get over that a little bit. But the not really caring what people think about me is one side of that that helped me, but that wasn't really what helped me in the ultimate. It helped me, but not enough. Um, but one is, I was just surprised how many leaders feel this way. How many Christians? If you don't feel this way, you should, because you have to be mindful of the fact that you are indeed being watched. And this is where, especially if someone's a coach or a consultant, or you're the face of something, this is where a lot of politicians sometimes get in trouble, or church pastors. You're up front. People forget you're human. People forget you're flawed. You stand for something, especially the higher and more noble the thing you stand for. Uh, the more you have to be super aware of the fact that you are being watched, and sometimes your people are watching with an expectation for you to fail, and they're looking forward to that giggle they can get at your expense, or they're watching you to pull apart your facade because they really don't think you're all real, you're all that, or they really, they're checking to see if you really are who you say you are. So we are being watched, and knowing we're being watched is why I think a lot of people are afraid to step out in leadership or don't achieve the success that they're looking for, because being very visible, open, vulnerable, exposed, is scary. It truly is scary. So, hey Joy, hey Andre, hey Wendy. So this is a conversation I've had, in fact, with Andre. We've had that years ago, but it's something that's come up again in this mastermind group of leaders that, this challenge that we're a part of. Like I said, that is, hey Rebecca. So this fear of being a fraud, this fear of being thought of as a fake, this fear of being truly seen for who you are is really, really scary at the leadership level. So let me tell you. I posted a verse here, and I want to just read it. 1 Peter 5, 1 through 4. So I exhort the elders among you. The Bible's talking to leaders here. So I exhort the elders among you. Hey, Adewal. As a fellow elder. So it's a leader speaking to a leader. Okay, guys, if you're a leader, you need to be a part of leadership masterminds. You need to get around other people of that level, because the followers, the people who are looking to you for leadership, they are great. They're supportive. They can help you, but you really need your saw, sharpened at that next level. So in this verse, 1 Peter 5, 1 to 4, so I exhort the elders among you as a fellow elder. Be amongst a group of leaders. Have your sword sharpened at that level. And a witness of the sufferings of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory. Okay, so here's this thing here. This person, this elder, this fellow elder, he's talking to his peers, okay? He's a witness and a partaker. Now, this is important, because whatever we are leading and teaching, teachers, God bless them, but some teachers have no real world experience of the thing they teach. They are so theoretical. But the people who have experienced, have partaken, have witnessed, are in the trenches, have gone through the dang thing, are going to sharpen you at a different level. Okay? So I honestly feel like this is where, sometimes you see a person who is not even, say, a personal trainer, but they have a huge following, just because they personally succeeded at weight loss or something like that, because they were witnesses, they were partakers, they were in the trenches, they accomplished the thing. So I'm just saying, you need to be at that. You need to have done the do. Okay. So let me read the whole thing first, and I'll break it down. So I exhort the elders among you as a fellow elder and a witness of the suffering of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory that is going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock, blah, blah. The glory that's going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but willingly, as God would have you, not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd appears, you will receive the unfading crown of glory. Guys, this is a huge verse for leaders. If you're a Christian leader, especially, just grab this verse and put it somewhere where you can see it and just really absorb it. So let me, I already talked about the fact that, this is an elder speaking to elders. So this is a peer group. And this elder who's speaking is someone who has been through it, seen it, partaken in it. Okay, and he is a shepherd of a flock. So we each have our sphere of influence. Okay, don't be jealous of someone else's flock. Okay, everybody has been called to a different flock. There's some who will hear your voice. It's like, let me give you a good example, and some of you may have experienced this. When I was growing up, my parents would, they're both parents in the home. But if my mom wanted to say something or punish me, it was a completely different thing than if my father was going to say something and punish me. So they each had their voice, and they each had their audience for that voice. And I'm just saying, whatever your sphere of influence is, whatever your flock is, don't be jealous of the next person's flock. But the point is, you will be called to shepherd a flock, and it may simply be just your family, but start there. So the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight. So these are also leadership responsibilities. Okay, oversight. Oversight's huge. I've seen so many companies that people think that the moment they become a boss or an owner or, in charge, that gives them permission to be absent. Absent management has just really allowed for a whole lot of shenanigans to go on. And the next thing you know is you've lost control. You've lost, the momentum of success. Oversight is huge. It is. So this verse is talking to leaders at a huge level because it's also giving you the leadership manifesto, if you want to call it. So exercising oversight, not under compulsion. Guys, if you're called to serve and this is your God-given purpose, hopefully you're doing it with joy and not under compulsion. It is not a pleasant thing. Hey, Latasha, it's not a pleasant thing when we have to work under compulsion. There's no joy in that process. And when you're a leader, there needs to be some joy in your process. So not under compulsion, but willingly, as God would have you. Willingly as God would have you. Not for shameful gain. Let me just pause there one moment. Not for shameful gain. Shameful gain. It didn't say not for gain. It said not for shameful gain. This is huge. It didn't say not for gain. There are a lot of Christians who have not felt the permission to earn an income from what they do. I remember when I was growing up as a kid, everybody knew I was the daughter of a preacher. Everybody knew, because my dad was kind of popular. So everybody knew. They just assumed, therefore, that I was a Christian. They didn't wait for me to have a personal declaration. Just assumed I'm the daughter of a preacher. That meant to them that all my stuff was theirs. Okay? That if I had an eraser and that kid, it didn't matter that he was going to take my eraser and I should have nothing to say about it because I, as a Christian, am not entitled to having anything. There is a mindset out there that is crazy. I've addressed that in many other conversations, but I just want to tell you, there is nothing wrong with us having gain, but there is a problem with shameful gain. That's a conversation for another day, but I'm sure if you're participating in shameful gain, that's already speaking to your heart. And if the cat wears it, but there's nothing wrong with gain, but there's a problem with shameful gain. So not for shameful gain, but eagerly. So we're to do things eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge. Gosh, oh my gosh, leaders, there's a difference between a leader and a boss. And some people don't know the difference. And some people have a title and they think that comes, I'm telling you, domineering over someone is extracting their compliance without joy. Okay, so leading someone, there are leaders in my life whom I want to get their attaboys. I want to hear good job, Trudy. And I'll push myself. And I can tell you, encouragement and love will go way further than even a bonus check at the end of the year. I can tell you. So when you're domineering, you are not exhibiting the kind of leadership that this elder is speaking to his peers about. He's warning against being domineering over those you're in charge of, but being examples to the flock. So this is the thing that helped me get over the fear of feeling like a fraud, of feeling like a fake. And, I represent certain things. For one thing, I definitely represent my faith. If you get around me, Bible's coming out of my mouth, Jesus coming out of my mouth. I'm unapologetic about being a Christian. I have no problem with that. If you don't like it, too bad. You can always just tune me out. That's no problem with me. But the thing that I want to say is, feeling like a lot of leaders, and especially if you're a leader who tries to recruit, you feel this fear probably the most, because when you are trying to attract other people to yourself, you're very much aware that those people are trying to decide, well, do I really want to follow you? Do you have all the things I'm hoping to be myself? And so that's really where the fake factor really shoots, just kind of shows its head. And then the leader who really wants to do their thing steps back in fear of being seen as a fraud, because they aren't all that. And if you let people get close enough, then they'll see that you're really not all that. So how do you get over that? Because, if you know you're called to serve, and you have something awesome to share, how do you get over that? And this is huge here. First and most important is to be an example. This was huge for me, and this was a huge thing for me, and I hope somebody grabs this and runs with it big time. In the space of what I do, people like to use the word or the title coach. Okay, coach, consultant, leader, all that kind of stuff. And it's interesting because each one of these titles come with a slight nuance. That is, a coach is on the sidelines. They're not in the game. Okay, they're directing from the side. So that's important, because if you have a coach, you're doing the work. They're coaching from the side. They're not in the game with you. Okay, and that's fine. And those are important. But I think that the coach, and if you notice, some of the coaches, especially like when my son was playing football, some of those coaches are out of shape, probably smoking and drinking. They're totally not an example. Now, they may have been at some point in their life, so they've done their time, they've had that experience, they're passing it on. Great, they need to do that. That's fantastic. But at that moment in their life, they are not an example of the thing. Does that mean they shouldn't coach? Not at all. They bring an experience to the game. They bring an experience to those others who have never done that before, but understand that they can only bring those students or those athletes as far as they have been. The Bible also talks about you can't be ahead of the master, but you can be, with study, you can be like the master. So that's another reason why we need newer and higher coaches from time to time, because a coach can only take as far as they are. But a lot of times, understand, people, coaches may not be an example of the thing that you're doing at that time, but they were in the past. Okay, so the coach can be a coach because they know how to play the game and you don't. They know how to design runs and you don't. But if you hang with that coach long enough, you can learn that thing. Is that coach a fake? No. But in that moment, that coach may not be an example. But this type of leader that the Bible is talking about is an example. That was the kind of leader I needed to be. Okay? I am not the do as I say leader. I am a do as I do leader. That was a huge change for me. And it was the day that I stopped ever feeling like a fake. Because if you look at me and I'm asking you to do something I myself am not doing, that doesn't mean I can't be a coach like those coaches, who are not, like they're seniors now. So clearly, some of these coaches at the NFL level, they're older. They can't play anymore. Their prime has passed, but they still have that wisdom they can bring. That's one kind of coach. There's nothing wrong with that coaching. I'm saying that's not my style, because if people don't understand what they're getting into, they'll look at that coach and say, he can't coach me. Look at him. He's a drinker. He's a smoker. He's out of shape, da-da-da. You have the wrong idea, but that kind of coach does exist. There's nothing wrong with that kind of coaching. I'm just saying that's not the style I pick for me, because that is an area where if someone challenged my authenticity or my integrity, I just didn't want to play in the space of the past. I prefer to be a do as I do type of person, which means if I'm saying, hey guys, I'm heading out to exercise and I'm asking you to come with me, I more see myself than as a tutor, if you want to call it that. And that's another kind of leadership. And I prefer that because I feel like I'm going through the process with those that I'm serving. So when I was a kid, I was always a good student. Never failed a subject in my life. Was always at the top of my class. I was never always the top because I always had that little mediocrity that used to come with the territory. I used to figure, well, I've done enough. I'm up there. You see me. Yeah. I don't need to stress anymore. So, but the point was, I was always at the top of my class, and so the teachers would ask me from time to time to help the other students, catch up. So I was a peer, but I was just a little ahead of the others, and I was helping them to catch up. That style is where I prefer to be, because then I'm doing it along with you. Or even if you don't want to come along, I'm still doing it, and you can see me doing it. So what I have then are goals and vision. So what people see is my brand is more of a vision of an ultimate outcome rather than where I'm at right now. I don't know if you're getting that. So when I encourage other Christians to become a profitable steward, it's because that is the journey I am on. I'm going to walk this journey alone if I have to. But I'm simply saying, guys, I'm doing this. I have the struggles that I know you're going to have. I've just figured out a couple steps maybe ahead of you. You're coming along with me. Have I accomplished it, reached all the things yet? Probably not what you're thinking, but I'm way ahead of where I used to be. So there are different kinds of leadership. I'm speaking to this, but being examples to the flock. You see, when you're on the sideline shouting into the crowd, you're not necessarily being an example anymore. And I prefer to be this kind of leader that the Bible is talking about. When Jesus was here, he left a template for us to follow. He left his godlike state to come into our man-like state. And he left a template for us. He literally went through, he grew up, he was born a baby, he grew up. It says he grew in stature and in wisdom. He went through the growing pains. My 15-year-old now constantly tells me, Mom, my legs hurt because he's growing. He would have gone through all the same growing pains. He had temptation. He was a leader. He knows our experience. He had a stepfather. I wrote a book called Jesus Had a Stepdad Too. There's so many blended families. He has left a phenomenal example. Okay, so there are different kinds of leadership. And if you want to be a leader who doesn't feel like a fraud, who doesn't feel like a fake, who can start to be more visible and vulnerable and out there, the first thing to do is to simply say, hey, I'm doing this too. Come along with me. I'm just like you. I've been there before. I have witnessed and partaken. Okay? So that's how I did it, guys. And yeah, a little bit of, I don't care what you really think, I'm doing my thing, did help, because there's another level of fear too, the getting over the fear of rejection. Because if I had to worry also about what other people thought, that would be a huge noose around my neck, a huge ball and chain. Thankfully, what you think about me really doesn't matter to me, because I'm going to do me, and I hope you will do you. All right, Trudy here. I have talked enough. I hope I've helped somebody today. Please share this, because I can tell you this is absolutely real, current, timely. I'm in a group right now, and there are lots of other leaders sharing this exact feeling, and it is current, it is real, it is right now, and somebody needs to hear this. Trudy here, super simple to find, and I do look forward to connecting with you. And hey, Eric, hey, Jim, two Jims, Latasha, Jim, Eric Barnes, thank you guys for joining. Did I hear honey come in? Oh.